Attention passionate Washington Commanders fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Washington Commanders' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Washington Commanders fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOUR, FRINDS and Washington Commanders FANS. Let's get to the news. Now, if you're a diehard Commanders supporter, you know how unpredictable the NFL offseason can be, especially when it involves star players, trade rumors, and team chemistry. And boy, do we have some interesting developments this year that could shake up the entire NFC East. It's not just about who's on the field come September, it's about the moves that could redefine the division's hierarchy. Today, I want to talk about some of these intriguing stories, especially focusing on the latest buzz involving our beloved Washington Commanders, some potential trades, player tensions, and what it all means for the upcoming season. Believe me, fans, this is something you don't want to miss. Let's start by setting the stage. The NFL offseason is always a roller coaster, with trades, contract negotiations, and players making their voices heard. This year, we've seen a bit of everything, but what's catching everyone's attention right now is the situation involving some high-profile wide receivers, both from the San Francisco 49ers and, of course, our very own Commanders. And trust me, it's not just idle chatter. There are real connections, real rumors, and real potential for game-changing moves. So to get right into it, let's talk about the recent trade that sent shockwaves through the NFL community. The 49ers, after a somewhat disappointing past few seasons, where their star receiver Deebo Samuel didn't quite live up to his all-pro potential from a few years ago, decided it was time for a change. And that change came in the form of trading Samuel to the Washington Commanders this past March. Yes, you heard that right. Deebo Samuel, now a Washington Commander. The deal was significant, not just because of the player involved, but because of what it signals for both teams and the division as a whole. The 49ers, after a couple of seasons where their offense, despite being explosive at times, couldn't quite reach that elite level they were hoping for, were looking to shake things up. Samuel, who's known for his versatility, able to line up as a receiver, a running back, and even a wildcat quarterback at times, was once considered one of the most dynamic weapons in the league. But lately, there's been a sense that Samuel's star power has dimmed a bit, especially after some inconsistent performances and questions about his fit within the evolving San Francisco offense. Fans remember the hype from his breakout seasons, when he looked like a future All-Pro, but in recent years, injuries and maybe some internal frustrations seem to tarnish that bright potential. In exchange for Samuel, the 49ers received a substantial package of draft capital, giving them additional picks that could be crucial for replenishing their roster or making further trades. This kind of move signals a franchise that's looking to adapt, to evolve, and to perhaps focus on a different style of offense. They've always been known for their innovative schemes and their ability to maximize talent, but losing Deebo is a statement that they're reshaping their roster for the future. For the fans, it's a bittersweet moment. Samuel is a fan favorite, no doubt, with his incredible energy and playmaking ability, but the Niners clearly felt it was time to move on, maybe to clear cap space or to get younger at that position. Now, what does this mean for Washington? Well, it's huge. Samuel instantly becomes one of the most talented receivers on our roster, and it raises expectations sky high. But it's not just about adding a star, it's about what this signals for the team's ambitions. The Commanders, who have been in a bit of a rebuilding phase over the past couple of seasons, are clearly trying to make a statement. They're trying to show that they're serious about competing in the NFC East and making a push toward the playoffs and beyond. Adding Deebo Samuel gives quarterback Sam Howell, who's still relatively young but showed promise last season, a legitimate weapon that can stretch defenses vertically and create big plays. But let's not forget, acquiring Samuel wasn't just a straightforward transaction. It came with some interesting implications. For one, it's a clear message that the Commanders are not content to wait and see. They're making bold moves to surround Howell with talent, and Samuel's versatility as a receiver and a gadget player offers a lot of flexibility in their game plan. Plus, having a receiver of Samuel's caliber can open up the entire offense, creating mismatches and forcing defenses to adjust. It's exactly the kind of move that could elevate the team's offensive production and give us a better shot at breaking a long playoff drought. Now, let's take a moment to analyze the bigger picture. The NFC East is arguably the most competitive division in the NFL right now, with the Eagles, Cowboys, Giants, and now the Commanders all vying for supremacy. Each team has made moves in the offseason, and the addition of Samuel adds a new dimension to Washington's offense. The Eagles are coming off another deep playoff run, powered by their dynamic quarterback Jalen Hurts and a roster full of young stars. The Cowboys, always a threat, have revamped their defense. The Giants, under new leadership, seem poised to take a step forward, and now the Commanders are reshaping their offense with high-profile additions. It's worth mentioning that Samuel's arrival has also sparked some discussions about the Commanders' receiving core. Terry McLaurin, the team's proven All-Pro wide receiver, has been the focal point of our passing game for years. But interestingly, McLaurin has been making headlines for different reasons recently. He's been exercising a holdout from OTAs amidst ongoing contract negotiations. This situation has fans wondering if McLaurin is unhappy with his current deal or if he's contemplating a move elsewhere if things don't improve. It's a delicate situation, but one that highlights how much the team's wide receiver position is under the spotlight right now. And it's not just McLaurin. Rumors have been swirling about other potential trade talks involving Washington's receiver room. Brandon Aiyuk from the 49ers has been mentioned in some speculative discussions, especially considering the recent contract holdout he endured last offseason. Aiyuk, who's shown flashes of brilliance but has also dealt with injuries, is currently recovering from a torn ACL sustained last season. He's been present during workouts and encouraging his teammates, but insiders suggest he might be feeling some frustration with his current situation and the organization's future plans. There are even whispers that Aiyuk might prefer a change of scenery, and that's where things get interesting, because Aiyuk's name has been linked in some trade scenarios with Washington. Now, this is where it gets really intriguing. Chase Sr. from Chat Sports floated a bold idea. What if Washington swapped McLaurin for Aiyuk? It's a bold proposal, but it makes a lot of sense when you look at the cap space and the contract details. Aiyuk's deal averages around $30 million a year, but it's heavily backloaded, which could work for Washington if they're willing to take on that salary in exchange for a younger, potentially cheaper, and still highly talented receiver. Idea is that Washington could leverage Aiyuk's contract to fit under the cap more comfortably, while San Francisco might be eager to offload a player they see as somewhat redundant with Samuel now on board. For the 49ers, acquiring McLaurin could be a strategic move. McLaurin, with his proven production and chemistry with quarterbacks, could fit well into their offense. Plus, with his current contract situation, the Niners might be able to negotiate a more team-friendly extension. On the other hand, Washington gets a younger receiver with a different skill set, someone who could grow into a key piece for years to come. Both teams could benefit from such a swap, the Niners getting a receiver who can produce immediately and help them contend, and Washington acquiring a receiver who can be the centerpiece of their offense for years. And let's not forget the personal connections here. Adam Peters, the GM of Washington, played a role in drafting both Samuel and Aiyuk back when he was in San Francisco. So, he's familiar with their skill sets, their work ethic, and how they fit into a team system. This familiarity could make negotiations easier if such a trade ever materialized. Plus, Aiyuk remains friends with Samuel, and both have a strong connection through their time in college at Arizona State, where they developed their chemistry. It's a fascinating web of relationships that could influence future moves. Now, I want you to really think about this. Both players, Samuel and Aiyuk, are talented, but they're currently facing some uncertainties. Samuel, after a few seasons of ups and downs, might be looking for a fresh start, a new environment where he can be the centerpiece. Aiyuk, meanwhile, is coming back from injury and perhaps feels he's not getting the respect or opportunities he deserves in San Francisco. A change of scenery could be exactly what both players need to reignite their careers. And from a strategic standpoint, both teams could see this as an opportunity to maximize their roster's potential while managing salary cap constraints. Of course, I should clarify that this trade idea is just floating around, not an official deal on the table. But the NFL offseason is all about these kinds of discussions, and sometimes, the most surprising moves happen when you least expect them. Don't be shocked if the teams start talking, especially as training camp approaches and the season gets closer. The NFL is a league where circumstances change rapidly, and what seems like a long shot today could become a reality tomorrow. So, what does all of this mean for the Washington Commanders as we look ahead? Well, it's clear that the front office is not content to sit back and wait. They're making bold moves, trying to position this team for a serious playoff push. Adding Deebo Samuel was a statement, but it's just the beginning. The potential trade scenarios involving McLaurin, Aiyuk, and other key players show that the team is actively exploring ways to improve, to find that perfect mix of talent, chemistry, and cap management. Fans should be excited because the Commanders are building a roster that can compete with the best in the league, and these moves could be the catalyst for a new era of success. Now, I want to make it clear that while these stories are fascinating and full of potential, nothing is set in stone yet. The NFL offseason is full of rumors, and many of these ideas are just that, ideas. But they're rooted in real player situations, real team needs, and real NFL strategies. And as fans, we should keep our eyes peeled because the next few weeks could bring some surprises. Teams will be making their final moves before training camp, and the trade market could heat up at any moment. So my fellow Commanders fans, this offseason is shaping up to be one of the most exciting in recent memory. We're witnessing the beginning of a new chapter, with fresh faces, new strategies, and the hope that this team can finally break through the playoff barrier. Whether it's the signing of a star receiver like Samuel or potential trade talks involving other key players, the future looks bright for Washington. Let's stay engaged, stay excited, and keep supporting our team through every twist and turn that this offseason throws at us. And now, Washington Commanders fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on all these rumors? Do you think a trade involving McLaurin and Aiyuk could really happen? Would you be excited about adding Deebo Samuel to the roster? Or do you think the team should focus on other areas in free agency or the draft? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Washington Commanders. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Washington Commanders news. The season is just around the corner, and the excitement is building. Let's go, Commanders!